What follows is a short demo of the eWastra platform. Out of the box functionality, nothing custom, no integrations with other platforms. Basically, you create an account on the platform. This is what you can do with it. To illustrate this, I have three different accounts open here to represent the different roles within a transport flow. Firstly, Acme Bakeries is going to be my sender. They will also be creating the document, so they function as the consigner as well for this document. Secondly, I have a transport company. They will, of course, be handling the documents, making sure the signatures are added to it where needed. And lastly, I have a receiving party in the form of Acme Paper Mill. They will, of course, receive the goods and sign for delivery. Over here, we have an overview of all the trips that are relevant for my company, in this case, Acme Bakeries, the consigner. Each row that you can see here is a separate trip, and all of these strips can contain multiple documents. For instance, we have a CMR here that has the CMR itself contained therein, but also an image that was created by my driver with a number of remarks added to it as well, and of course the full data set. We preserve all this information for at least 7 years, and you can find all the documents again by using the advanced search in the top left. There you can search between, let's say, two different dates along with a certain carrier, for instance. Before we move on to creating an actual document, I want to show you the contact list first. This serves as an address book for my company. Herein, I can define the other parties that I work together with and also create a connection to those parties using the connect button. This allows them access to the documents that I create with their party on it. So if it's relevant for them, they will also receive those documents in their inbox, which allows them to manage those documents, maybe assign drivers, maybe make amendments, things like that. In order to create a document manually, it's quite simple. I select the document type that I want to create, and maybe I want to use a template that is also available here. I, as a company, can define these templates myself. So if I need to generate the same document multiple times a week, I can just set up a template for that and keep reusing that same template. Starting from an empty document is also quite easy. I just choose a CMR or whatever document type I may need, and I fill in the information that is required here. Dossier numbers, for instance, and of course, the different parties as well. This calls back to my address list, my contact list, because now I have an auto select here where I can choose a certain party. Destination was paper mill, and over here I get the confirmation that they will also receive that document in real time because they are listed in green and it has a chain link next to it. And of course, I want to use my external transport company. I, as the consigner, do not know which driver will be doing this trip, nor with which truck they will be doing it. So I'm going to leave this empty. This is my carrier's concern to fill in, which is where the data sharing comes in. Now, before we can finalize this document, of course, we have to add some products. There we go. And once I'm happy with my document, I can finalize it. It goes through the process of verification. We make sure all the required fields have been added. And then it gets added to my inbox because, of course, it's my document with all the information contained thereon. And of course, since I have a direct connection to my transport company, if I hop to my second tab, you can see that that party has also received a notification that there is a new order, and they get it in their inbox as well. They can verify this information, maybe amend it when necessary using the details button, but if they are happy with everything, all they have to do is assign a driver here using the button. I type out the name of my driver. Once again, this has an autocomplete because all of the drivers are individual users on the platform with their own access, and I just fill in a license plate as well. Now, this information is sent back to all other parties as well. So my consigner slash pickup spot has also received this update that now a driver has been assigned to the document. So we are actually good to go. We can go on the road with this document. There he is. Now, of course, the driver has their own app to use, which looks like this. All my driver has to do to log in is fill in their PIN code. No usernames, no passwords, nothing special, just a PIN code. I get a list of all the documents that are relevant for me as a driver. In other words, documents that are assigned to me, nothing else. And note that I also receive the interface in the language that my phone is in. I'm just quickly going to find the document that we created earlier using the search, using that reference number that I had added to it. There we go. As a driver, I see in short the information that I may need for this trip. If I click it open, the system is going to fetch all the information about the document. And as a driver, I am presented with all that info that I may need, including any attachments that may or may not be present here on the document. Now, what follows, all my driver has to do is follow the blue buttons at the bottom here to continue with the document. So I arrive at the loading location. We keep a timestamp and a geolocation of where the driver was and when they press that button. I confirm. And then I can start picking up the goods and signing for pickup. I also have a number of options here that allow me to cancel the trip if necessary. This can, of course, be disabled on the company level. I can make notifications if something happened, if the packaging is damaged or something like that. I can make a mention of that. If everything is fine, I can just move on to signing for the document. I'm presented with a number of options of letting the loading location also sign. I can either use the QR codes that I have present here, or I can show them a QR code and they use the app to sign, or I can do a sign in absence. Um, should I want to? Now I do actually have a QR code available here for the loading location. Usually this would be printed on a badge and be available at the reception, but either way works. Just quickly going to scan this. And I'm then brought back to my overview, which if I refresh it, you can see we now get the notification that the document has been picked up and of course the goods as well. Hopping back to the platform, all parties involved, of course, also receive this notification. So let's say my consigner wants to see the documents. Well, they've received that notification that it's now been loaded. And now my document is also generated here, as you can see, with all the information contained thereon that may be necessary. And of course, two signatures currently present, the loading location and the transport company. We of course still have to drive to the unloading location, so this party still has to sign for it. If my driver is stopped along the road by the police or another authority and they need to show the document, that is actually quite easy. All my driver has to do is select the document. They can then proceed to go to the extra options over here on the top right, and I choose to generate a QR code. So other parties can also scan this to get access to the document. Keep in mind, you do not need the app to scan this particular QR code, but you also do not get full access to the document if you use this code. The only documents that you get access to is the CMR. If my driver created any other images here or you uploaded any files here, the authorities do not get access to this, nor do they get access to the full dataset. Again, only the actual CMR here, as you can see. My driver then arrives at the unloading location, and over there it's pretty much the same thing as we did on the loading location. I once again confirm that I have arrived, and I sign for delivery. Now, the receiving party then receives a number of options of also signing the document, including once again the QR codes from earlier, or a sign in absence, or we now also have the option of doing a sign on glass here. I'm just going to use the sign in absence, just so we can finalize the document. There we go. My driver receives a notification that the delivery has been completed, and of course, all other parties involved have also received that same notification. Which brings us to our finalized document, of course. If I open this up, I now have a finalized document, including a fully signed CMR, two signed digitally, one signed in absence.